They said Christmas was just for immediate family this year. No big deal, just keeping things simple. That's what Mom told Lisa in the family email chain. I wasn't on that chain. I only found out because Lisa hit reply, all by accident. So I showed up anyway. It was snowing by the time I got to the house. Same porch light. Dad put up back in '93, still hanging crooked, still flickering like it couldn't make up its mind. I hadn't been on that step in 7 years. Not since the day we buried him. I had one thing in my hand. A small box, wrapped in silver paper tied with a navy blue ribbon I had folded the corners sharp. Taped it flat. It looked neat, like something you'd buy in a store, but I'd packed it myself. Carefully, I knocked 3 times. Not soft, not hard, just enough. The door opened and Lisa was standing there. She blinked like I'd just stepped out of a memory she didn't want to remember. "Did Mom order something?" she asked. I didn't answer right away. I just held out the box. "She didn't order this," I said, "but she should still open it." Lisa didn't move, so I stepped inside. It was warm, the kind of warmth that smells like cinnamon and pine and something baking in the oven, the kind that makes you want to set your coat down and stay. But I didn't. The stockings were already hung. Mom, Lisa, Thomas. That was it. No Helen on the mantel. A new family photo taken without me. They were standing in front of the tree, matching sweaters. Big smiles, the picture that used to hang there. Dad with his arm around me, both of us holding snow shovels and laughing like idiots that one was gone. I walked past the living room and into the kitchen. Same fridge, same corkboard. But the old report cards and church thank you notes had been replaced by stick figure drawings from Lisa's kids and a save-the-date card for her vow renewal. I placed the box right under the magnet that used to hold up my college acceptance letter. It looked small under that big Merry Christmas magnet, small, but it felt heavier than anything else in that house. Lisa stood in the doorway behind me. "You're not staying," she said. It wasn't a question. I shook my head. "Just dropping something off." She nodded once. Tense, like she couldn't figure out what I'd really come for. I walked to the door, past the spot where my picture used to hang. There was a drawing there now, crayon hearts, a stick figure, family of 4, I guess. 5 was too many. I paused, then turned just enough to say, "Tell Mom she can open it on the 25th. Or sooner if she wants. I won't be here either way." Then I stepped out into the snow and pulled the door shut behind me. There was never a fight. No yelling, no slammed doors, no final argument where someone shouted, "Get out!" That would have been easier, I think. Instead, it happened quietly. Dad had his stroke in the fall of 2015. I left my nursing job in Allentown and moved back home to help Mom. Said it would just be for a few weeks until they got a care nurse in place, but the nurse never came. I was the nurse. I helped Dad relearn how to hold a spoon. I tracked his meds, cleaned the sheets, massaged his feet when they cramped up in the middle of the night. I clipped his toenails. I sat with him through appointments, through silence, through frustration. Lisa came by on Sundays. Sometimes she'd bring store-bought cookies and sit in the living room for 10 minutes. Then she'd say something like, "I can't see him like this," and leave. Mom would say, "You know your sister's sensitive," as if I wasn't. As if watching our father forget his own address didn't tear me up too. One night, I overheard Mom on the phone with her friend Marlene. She was in the kitchen. I was upstairs folding laundry. She said, "Lisa's the delicate one. Helen's tough. She doesn't need anybody." I remember sitting on the bed holding Dad's clean socks, feeling something inside me settle. Like hearing the diagnosis after you already knew the results. I was useful, but I wasn't loved. When Dad passed, there was no big family meeting. No talk of what came next. A week after the funeral, Mom handed me a check for $500 and said, "You should get back to your life now, sweetie." I stared at her. I didn't even know I'd left my life. I thought this was my life, this house, this family. I thought I'd earned a place here again. Instead, Lisa moved into my old room 2 weeks later. Temporarily, she said. Just until her divorce settled, I wasn't asked if I needed anything. I wasn't invited to stay for Christmas that year or the year after. They didn't tell me to leave. They just stopped saving me a seat. At first, I thought it was grief, that maybe they didn't know how to include me without Dad around. But then I saw the family group texts, the photos, the little inside jokes I wasn't part of anymore. And when Lisa sent that email last month, the one she thought I wasn't on, I realized this wasn't an accident. This was the new version of the story, one where I was never really in the picture. There's this picture they posted 2 years ago, Christmas morning. Lisa, Mom, and Thomas in matching pajamas holding mugs, smiling on the couch. I remember that couch. I remember buying it with Dad when the old one broke. He let me pick the fabric, blue plaid, but in that picture it looked like I'd never been there at all. It's a strange thing being erased without anyone saying the word, but even stranger, realizing that part of you let it happen because silence is quieter than asking why. After I left, I didn't move far, just north to a small rental cabin outside Tunkhannock. 1 bedroom, thin walls, a heater that rattled like a loose coin in a jar. It wasn't much, but it was quiet, and it was mine. I took a job at the community clinic, long hours, not great pay, but honest work. I treated folks who'd lost jobs, lost insurance, lost hope. Sometimes they just needed someone to sit still with them. I was good at that. Every month, like clockwork, I sent $300 to Mom's bank account. No message, no return address. I knew she'd know who it was from. She never said thank you, never mentioned it, but she cashed it. For the first few years, I thought maybe she'd reach out. Maybe the silence was just temporary. A season. I even bought gifts. Every December, I wrapped 1 small box. I picked the paper carefully, navy blue or silver. Nothing loud. I'd write Mom on the tag in small handwriting and place the gift in a shoebox I kept under my bed. They were never mailed. I didn't have the nerve to send them, and I didn't have the heart to throw them away. The box grew heavier every year. 2016 was a framed photo of Dad and me from my college graduation, the only one where he's smiling without faking it. 2017, a set of handmade lavender soaps I found at a craft fair. She used to love lavender. 2018 was a voice recorder, one I'd bought for Dad's speech therapy back when we thought maybe he could relearn how to talk again. I found it while packing after he passed. I almost tossed it, but when I pressed play, I heard something I'd forgotten was still on there. His voice. It was soft, slurred, but it was him. If Helen's listening to this, I want her to know she did right by me. I'm proud of you, kiddo. No matter what the others say, I dropped the recorder on the floor the first time I heard it, sat down hard, and just let it loop. I never told Mom I had that file. Never told Lisa either, but I saved it. Transferred it to a USB drive. Kept it in the back of my kitchen drawer under the old takeout menus and spare batteries. I also kept copies of the medical paperwork. The insurance forms Mom refused to sign. The ones I did. Copies of the payments I made. Statements, dates, my handwriting on every line they wouldn't fill out. It wasn't revenge, it wasn't blackmail, it was proof. Because I knew deep down the day would come when someone would say it didn't happen that way. That I exaggerated, that I made myself the victim. That's what people do when they don't want to feel guilty. They rewrite the story, so I kept the original. And this year, I finally wrapped it. 1 box, silver paper, navy blue ribbon for her. I didn't stay long after I dropped off the box, a few minutes maybe, long enough to feel the heat of the fireplace on my back, long enough to smell the apple pie Lisa always overbakes and the cinnamon candles Mom insists on lighting even though they make her sneeze. No one said hello, but no one asked me to leave either. They looked at me like I was just someone passing through. That part didn't hurt anymore. It used to, but not now. Not after this many years. I left without touching a single plate, without sitting down. My name wasn't on any place card, and I hadn't expected it to be. But before I stepped out the door, Thomas, Lisa's oldest boy, peeked out from behind the hallway. He was 13 now. Last I saw him, he was still in Velcro sneakers and cartoon pajamas. Now he was all limbs and teenage awkwardness. "Are you the one who dropped off that box?" he asked, voice low, like he wasn't supposed to talk to me. I nodded. "Yeah, that's me. What's in it?" I paused, thought about brushing it off, but something in his eyes, the way he didn't flinch, didn't look away, made me answer. "It's something your grandfather left behind. Something I was asked to keep, but it belongs here now." He looked down at the box sitting quietly where I'd left it on the kitchen counter. "No one's opened it," he said. "I figured they wouldn't." He took a step closer. "Can I hesitated. "I think it's meant for your grandma, but if you're curious, I won't stop you." He didn't touch it then, just stared at it like it might disappear if he blinked too fast. I stepped out onto the porch, buttoned my coat, and pulled my scarf up. The snow had started again, light and quiet like ash. I had just reached the bottom step when I heard the screen door creak open behind me. Then the sound, faint, grainy, unmistakable of a voice I hadn't heard in 7 years. "Dad." The audio started mid-sentence like the recorder had been left running. "Don't know if this'll work. I'm not good with these machines, but if Helen ever plays this..." "Well, kiddo, I want you to know you did good. You did what needed to be done, even when no one else wanted to." The words floated through the doorway soft and clear. No one inside spoke. I stood still. I could picture them. Lisa, Mom, Thomas, frozen in place. No one wanting to press stop. No one daring to say, "It wasn't real." If you're hearing this, it means I'm gone, but don't let anyone make you feel like you weren't there. You were. Every day. He paused like he was swallowing back something. "You kept me alive longer than I deserved. That's the truth. That's the record." Then silence, no music, no click, just the quiet hum of the house breathing around his voice. I didn't turn back. I didn't need to. The box had been opened, and there was no closing it now. I didn't go far, just to the edge of the porch. From there, I could hear everything. Inside, the house had gone still. You could hear the furnace hum, the clink of a fork being set down. Then Mom's voice, soft, sharper than it used to be. "Where did you get that?" She wasn't yelling, but the tightness in her throat made the words come out thin. Thomas answered, careful. "It was in the box. I told you not to open anything." "You didn't," he said. "You didn't say anything." Then Lisa. Is this some kind of trick? I could picture her arms crossed, standing in the same spot I'd just been, still trying to figure out how to turn the situation back in her favor. "It's not fake," Thomas said. "That's Grandpa. You can hear it." More silence. I imagined the look on Mom's face, the one she used to make when she was cornered but didn't want to admit it. Lips pressed together, eyes on anything but the person speaking. I heard a drawer open, the shuffle of paper, then a long breath. Lisa again. These are insurance papers with your name on them, mine," I heard Mom say. "And hers." A pause. She signed when I wouldn't. She said it like she was talking to herself, like the words were coming out even though she didn't want them to. "She paid for the policy," Lisa asked. "All those years." Another pause. Then, "Yes." I stood still, fingers curled into the sleeves of my coat. There it was. Not an apology, not a change of heart, but truth. Raw, small, undeniable. Lisa's voice again, this time lower. "You told me she made things harder, that she wanted control, I needed someone to blame," Mom said, and she was the only one who didn't leave. That one hit harder than I thought it would. I looked up at the sky. Snow was falling again, steady, quiet, piling up in the corners of the porch. Then Thomas spoke. Not loud, just curious. Why didn't she come back? No one answered right away. Then Mom, barely above a whisper. Because I didn't ask her to. That was it. No fireworks, no shouting, no grand confession. Just that one sentence. Small, true enough, I didn't wait for more. I stepped off the porch and walked to my car. The engine was cold, but it started on the first turn, the kind of small mercy you take as a win. As I pulled away, I glanced in the rearview mirror. No one stood at the window. No one ran out, but I didn't need them to. They'd heard him, they'd seen the papers, and for the first time in 7 years, they knew exactly who had been there all along. Not as a memory. Not as a burden, but as a fact. I didn't drive straight home. I pulled into a small parking lot behind the diner off Route 6, the one Dad used to take me to after Sunday service. It was closed for the holiday. The lights were off, the windows fogged, but it felt familiar. Solid, like something that hadn't been rearranged to leave me out. I sat there for a while, let the heater hum and the snow tap softly against the windshield. I didn't cry. That part of me had quieted years ago. Instead, I reached into my coat pocket and pulled out one last envelope. It was smaller than the others. No ribbon, no wrapping. Just plain white sealed with Mom, written in my handwriting. Inside was a second USB drive, a copy of the file, and a note. If you ever need to remember what the truth sounds like, here it is. If not, throw it away, but don't say. No one kept the record. I drove back toward town. The lights on Main Street were still up, twinkling reds and golds, plastic wreaths in every window. I turned off onto Pine Road, slowed as I passed the old house one last time. No one was outside. I parked just long enough to step out, walk quietly to the front porch, and slip the envelope through the mail slot. It landed with a soft sound on the hardwood floor. Then I turned and left without knocking. On the drive back, I played the recording one more time, not for them, for me. Dad's voice filled the car. "You did right, Helen. Not loud, not proud, but right." The rest of the tape was static, but I let it run all the way through. When I got home, I lit the one candle I kept on the kitchen table, poured myself a cup of the same cider Mom used to make. It didn't taste quite right, but it was close enough. I sat by the window watching the snow pile up outside and thought about what would happen next. Probably nothing. Mom wouldn't call. Lisa might pretend it never happened. Maybe someday Thomas would bring it up again and no one would answer him. And that was fine. I didn't go back to be loved. I didn't go back to be forgiven. I went because stories don't rewrite themselves. People do. And I didn't want to be edited out one more year without saying something first. Even if that something was silent, even if it came in the form of a box no one wanted to open, that was enough. That was the truth. I didn't come to be welcomed back. I came so they'd stop pretending I was never there. I left the truth where they could see it. Now it's up to them to look. If this story felt familiar, you're not alone. Leave a comment. Sometimes the silence needs a witness.